brand new, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig, May the 17th, 2018, live on location here at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, as we are here every Thursday, and boy, do we have another action-packed show, as always, here for you tonight. And with my co-host, Justin Hykel, who I'm going to bring in momentarily. Just going to get through the usual introduction portion of the Game Sports Show. We're here live on location, as I mentioned, at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, where it's after 9 o'clock, and it's their daily specials. You got the $9 schooners from Molson Canadian and Coors Light products. You got the $4 bar rails, and you have the half-price off appetizers. You're among friends and involved in a great atmosphere, as always, here at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie. And Boston Pizza being a home, obviously, to the Game Sports Show. There's a list of other homes for the Game Sports Show. Wednesdays here in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, at Sports Center Bar and Grill, where you can hear last night's show with myself and Jamie Antonello on thegamesportshow.podbean.com. And on Mondays, usually, but for the summer months, it's going to be Tuesdays. So Mondays/Tuesdays and/or Tuesdays, you can hear myself and Scott Nason, along with Butch Davis and E.J. Russell at the Wicked Sister in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Now, let's have additional sponsors. With Boston Pizza, Sports Center, and the Wicked Sister, there is Pingator Cleaners in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Also, there is Northern Critters in Need, Big Brother, Big Sister. There is Discover the Canvas, the Superior Pro Shop, the Salon, and North Shore Sports and Auto. And a new sponsor onto the show, Northern Signs, whom are responsible for our merchandise. And the merchandise being officially launched this week. And you can order those shirts on www.thegamesportshow.com, where you can also follow and listen to previous episodes of the game. Or you can also order it on the Game Sports Show, SSM, at gmail.com, or you can comment on the Podbean page and I will respond to you, or the Facebook page that the show's uploaded to, and I'll respond to you with your inquiry. We had 25 shirts for the first batch that were sold out within 2.5 hours. We'll have a new batch officially ready for pickup on Tuesday, so you can place your order now. And when you place your order, you can either do an Interact e-transfer, or you can pay cash when we deliver it to you at your door. Pretty soon you will be able to order online through an online payment system, but for now it is e-transfer or cash. When you purchase the shirts, it's $25. The proceeds going towards Northern Critters in Need and Big Brother, Big Sister. So if you want to buy a shirt, not only is it fashionable, it also goes towards a great cause. So make sure you get in touch with me to get your shirt ordered, because you definitely don't want to miss out or have to wait to get your shirt for the Game Sports Show. Now, speaking of the Podbean page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com or www.thegamesportshow.com. You can follow us on each of those sites, and you can get updates when shows are uploaded. And if you have any questions, you just email thegamesportshowssm@gmail.com, or myself, Justin Hykel, on Facebook, or Brad Cochimelio, Dane Hancho. Anyone who's on the show, we will reach out to, or tweet at Scott Nason. I want to thank Scott Nason as well here tonight. He is the board operator as always, and to Mitch Wilson, the bringer of beer, and to the crew here at Boston Pizza alongside Aaron Grisdak for being a part of the show weekly here on Thursdays, and to you, the listeners. And the show going up in numbers each and every week. It's fantastic to hear the amount of listeners that we have, and we are most grateful for the listeners that we have and the loyal listeners, and to the great sponsors and people involved with the Game Sports Show. Now, the agenda of the show tonight. It'll be myself and Justin Hykel alongside Jamie Henderson. It'll be the people bringing you the show here tonight, as Brad Cochimelio is taking 2 weeks off, and obviously Dane Hancho is on summer leave currently here. So tonight it'll be myself and Justin Hykel in this introduction portion. But part 2 of the show, we'll be bringing in Jamie Henderson to talk local chat in terms of him coaching the Sioux Thunderbirds and where they're at currently in the offseason going into next season. We'll also be talking about the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. We'll get his perspective of that. And then part 3 of the show will be myself, Justin, and Jamie as well, talking the NHL playoffs and the Toronto Maple Leafs, along with the multiple choice segment and the trivia question winner from last week's trivia. So we want to make sure you do not miss out on that. Justin, I'm going to bring you in now, buddy. How you doing, sir?
Oh, another day in paradise here in the Sioux. But it's actually been a pretty nice week here. So Go head into the long weekend here. I don't want to jinx it. Fair's in town though, so everyone be aware. If it rains, you know why. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. We're gonna run out of things to talk about here soon. Greyhounds are bumped out of the playoffs. NHL playoffs are starting to wind down. World Championships in the playoff round now, so I'm gonna run out of this. This windbag's gonna run out of air.
Now, Team Canada today getting the win over Russia, 5-4 in those World Championships. That is not fully on our agenda of discussion today because we can only fit so much into our show with our time constraints that we have. But definitely got to give a shout out to Canada at the World Championships, getting the feats over Russia today with a win 5-4. Now, Justin, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach to this introduction, as obviously our meat and potatoes of the show are in part 2, part 3, and when Jamie Henderson comes through the doors here at Boston Pizza. So I just want to have a general discussion just to kind of get to the show before we go to our break. Merchandise. You saw the shirts that were launched on the Game Sports Show this week. A lot of reactions. Sold out of those shirts within 2.5 hours. That's amazing, first off, of the followers that we've had. And we definitely got to make sure we bulk up our inventory, it seems like, with that. They are a black and white color right now, and colors are going to transition later into green and cream, our logo color. But everything's flying high, eh, brother?
You know what? It's nice to see the support we got from everyone out there just right off the hop is fantastic, and it's going to be nice to get even another batch of these in, and we'll keep things rolling. But I mean, I'm floored just at how fast that went. Like, I honestly, when you told me today, I didn't believe it. You said it again, and I was like, okay, he's serious. And that's just like, I don't know, a wholehearted thank you from both of us here. I mean, to everyone listening. If you guys got suggestions, if you guys want some hats or stuff like that, I mean, don't be afraid to shoot us a message.
For sure, we'll take any kind of criticism or any type of suggestions for the show to make it better for you, the listener. The Game Sports Show is the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, and we're glad that you're a part of it here with us, and we certainly hope you enjoy the show week by week. Mike, I wanted to start this off on a funny kind of point. Get the kind of a loose feel. You get signed to an NHL contract, NBA contract, NFL contract, MLB contract. It doesn't matter whatever sport it is. The trainer sits you down in the room, asks you, what number do you want to wear? What number are you wearing?
I mean, let's start this off. Let's be honest here. The trainer pulls me into the room and he says, "What are you doing here? How did you get this far into the locker room? Are you the new janitor? Are you the maintenance guy? Are you here to put the numbers on the jerseys? Oh, you're here. Well, I mean, if I'm picking a number, I have to go with my old 48. I've had that forever. That's my go-to. Probably really only applies in football. I don't really know.
Kennedy had it in Pittsburgh.
He did have it in Pittsburgh.
He did.
I don't know how that works in basketball or baseball as far as numbers go, so I don't know. I'm just going to stick with that.
Now, I think people know what number I'd probably go with. I used to wear various numbers in hockey. Did you know I used to wear number 2 as a forward and a goalie? Makes no sense. I then wore number 7. I then wore number 13. Okay, then I went back to 7. I then moved over when I went to the junior ranks, where I played 14. And then I wore 9. Went back to the Beavers, wore 9. Then I went to Thunder Bay, wore 17. Went to the Birds, wore 10. Retired number 15. So people are probably wondering, what is your favorite number? I now have been wearing number 13 in men's league for the past 7 seasons. It's the longest time I've had with the number. And I'm very happy. Did you know number 13 was the only number I won a scoring championship with? Even with my rookie of the year runner-up stuff back in the day, nope, that didn't. Nope. That even in the junior ranks and all that, no, that was the year in midget was when I had 90 points, and it was a year to remember. And I've always liked number 13, so I went back to 13. So if I had to choose a number, after looking at the trainer and saying, oh my God, I can't believe I made it here, I would definitely go with number 13 for sure. So I want to start off with that because I want to see what your favorite number is, listeners. You let us know what number that you would wear on the back of your jersey in any kind of sport. Very fascinating to see what everyone's different kind of numbers is. Now, Justin, you and I are going to take a quick break here. We're going to enjoy some Molson products, some great food here at Boston Pizza, the very lively atmosphere here at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie. And we're going to hear back from our sponsors here in the terms of commercials. And when we come back, Jamie Henderson's going to be coming on. Very special guest, friend of mine, former coach, GM of Silver Creek Golf Course. We're going to be talking local sports and professional sports in the realm of hockey, so you don't want to miss that. So don't go anywhere. We're back here on The Game Sports Show.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to The Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsoo.as.me-. The Salon, making the Soo beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, this is Joe Bowen, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show from Sault Ste. Marie.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig. I am alongside Justin Hykel. And now I'm also alongside a very close friend, former coach of mine, general manager of Silver Creek Golf Course, coach of the Sioux Minor Midget Thunderbirds, and an all-around good guy, as we like to say, Jamie Henderson. Hendo, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Dave. Thanks for having me on again. Looking forward to talking sports here with you.
Absolutely. We talk a lot of good sports here on the Game Sports Show, and you and I, Hendo, are going to talk a lot of local stuff in terms of the Thunderbirds. We're going to talk a little bit about the Hounds. I want to get your perspective on the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and then we'll have a break, and then we're going to talk about the NHL and those Toronto Maple Leafs who lost in Game 7. We're going to talk about it. I know we've talked about it the last couple weeks on the show, but good to get your thoughts with that. But, Hendo, we're going to jump in and talk about Silver Creek first. Silver Creek teed off this week, I believe, was the opening week, correct?
Last week, so we've been open 1 week Tuesday, so about 9 days or so. So a little late for us, but it's nice to get going. The weather's been great. We've had a lot of busy days, so it's been great so far.
Absolutely. Now, have you golfed a lot there? Have you been able to hit some holes? Have you been able to find the time?
People always think that when you work at a golf course, you get to play a lot of golf, but I have not played golf once yet. In town, I did sneak in a couple 9 holes at a hockey tournament.
Nice.
Early on before we were open, but once you get open, it's so busy. We have our tournament on Saturday, actually, our opening tournament, so I'll play in that. I kind of like to host and play, and so I'm looking forward to seeing the course. I have to go out and see the course, but I don't get to play very much, so that's one of the downsides of working at the golf course, but there's way more upsides than downsides for sure.
Absolutely. Now, obviously we follow each other on Facebook and whatnot, and you got Fridays with Hendo. You know, I gotta ask you about that. You know what? I watched that. You're good. I was listening closely to your Leaf reaction. I actually think I took some of your quotes, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie, but talk about that. You get a lot of viewers with that. I see the viewers you get. You get a lot of good comments. I'm sure you like having fun with that on Fridays. And you can hear that live on Jamie Anderson's Facebook page on Fridays obviously with Fridays with Hendo. What made you start that? Was it the segment that we did here a couple months ago, or what was it?
I have no idea why we started. I guess I'm an opinionated person, but always trying to promote what's going on at Silver Creek, number one, and we're such a social media-driven society now that I thought that was a great way to promote our events and being open and specials and all that stuff. And then I didn't want to just talk about golf, so then obviously I'm going to talk about hockey and other things, and it just kind of spun off. I get some people that like it, some people that hate it, some people say shorten it up. But, sometimes you like to talk a little bit. We like to go on a little bit. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm hopefully going to keep doing it. And some weeks I'll have a little more to say than others, but it's been a lot of fun so far.
Absolutely. And sorry that got interrupted there. We had a fan of, obviously, the Las Vegas Golden Knights here at Boston Pizza. And, Hendo, I enjoy watching it. Every time I see it live, I take a minute to make sure I watch it. I like the opinionated. You got to be opinionated. Got to talk when you got to talk. Hey, I like to talk a whole bunch, and you know that. I think that's why the show is what it is. But we're going to jump into what you're doing for your coaching for the Thunderbirds. I know you're telling me off air, you're starting practice. Everything starts August 13th, right? You got 3/4 of the team essentially gathered right now. You got one more camp coming up. I just want to jump in and give the listeners some news regarding that.
Yeah, it's almost it seems like hockey never ends, but we know it has to. So after the season, had a few weeks off, and then we had our original orientation camp, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like we're going to have, a pretty decent team this year, and I think a strong group that we're looking forward to working with. We chose both 13 players so far, and we really wanted, at this stage especially, when they can grow so much over the months, we wanted to give a handful of kids, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, an opportunity to make the last 6 spots. So we told them that. We said, hey, go have a great 3 months, work hard, and we'll see you again in July. And, it'll be up to them now to prove to us that they deserve to earn a spot on the team. And so I'm a big believer in that. At this age, I understand why we need to make the teams in the spring. It's great to be able to fundraise all summer. You have to pick your gear. You got to get in your tournaments, all that stuff. But I really felt like it was important that some of maybe the late developers, maybe somebody might grow a couple inches, get a little bigger, give them a chance to get better these from May until July, and show us how bad they want to be on the team. So we need about 6 more players, and I'm hoping to have a great camp in July, and then we'll have a few weeks off, and then before you know it, it'll be August. And like you said, we start on August 13th. And then, we get going right away. The season starts early September. So we started towards the end of August last year. Thought we were a little bit behind where I wanted to be. So, it's a big jump for these kids going from Bantam to midget. So I thought, let's start a little bit earlier and get going.
Absolutely. And I've had this discussion with Colin Miller. I've had a discussion with Paul Maurice. Had this discussion with Joe Bowen. And the training regimen of players now is so much different. Now, even with youth, off-season is so much different than what it used to be for back when, if I'd like to use the example, when I played or even before that. Everything is completely different. What can you recommend for, obviously it's different for each age and what level you're at, but besides, what do you recommend for the off-season for kids in terms of, it's not the weightlifting fully anymore. It's those working on your cardio. It's working on getting on the ice and working with a puck and skating. What can you give for recommendations for kids here in Sault Ste. Marie and just in general about what they can do in the summer to be prepared for the season?
I think for me personally, number one is when the season's over, you need a break. Whether you're 13, 9, 16, and we know the professional players take a break, but you let your body relax. The muscles need to recoup. The skating's not a normal. It's not a normal thing. What you put your groins and your hips through. So, and I'm no expert in this field, but definitely the mental strain. When I talk about starting in August, we go August till April. Sometimes till the middle of May, and so that's a long season. And so I think if you give yourself, say, a few weeks off, and then the best advice I would say is get a trainer and make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure they're qualified. Make sure they have experience. Ask them who they've worked with. Ask the people they've worked with how their experience was. If you're a trainer, I'm going to ask someone you train. Hey, how did he improve you? What? And every player that we've ever coached, when we have exit interviews, we give them what to work on. So that's the biggest thing. What each player needs to work on, have a goal and a plan, and whether it's off ice, on the ice. There's no ice here in the summer in the Soo now, which I think is a great thing from now until July. Come July, you're probably going to go to a skating camp. I know the Perlinis, they run a great camp. A lot of the players will go to that. You get to work on your edges, learn some new skating techniques. And then, August, we're going to start practicing. So I think you really need a mental break in May and June, and that gives you time to really go hard off the ice.
Absolutely. Definitely completely different kind of regimen. And Justin, that's where I'll bring you in for this comment in terms of training. You were in the football world more so than the hockey world, but still similarities in terms of having to work hard on the off season. Different. It is different now than what it used to be in general in terms of training. It is a different sport. Okay, but in terms of you being experienced with football, coaching around that, do you see difference on the positive side with the training now than what it used to be?
I mean, had I known back then what I know now, it would have been a total different world. But I mean, even the kids coming out of high school now are like 10 years and they're training ahead of what I was in grade 9. Like, I didn't start, doing a lot of Olympic weightlifting even until grade 11, grade 12. These kids are deadlifting out of elementary school now. Like, stuff like that is kind of crazy. Like, the focus that goes into it now, they're they commit. And that's, even like my girlfriend's little brother. He's in off-ice camps pretty well all year. He's skating, whether he's, I think he does the KBX camp, and he's on that treadmill thing and stuff like that, but he's going nonstop. And that's maybe just how competitive it is in town here as well, where you have to train like that to give yourself that extra edge. But it's also a testament to just the way players across all sports now are training to prepare themselves and trying to gain that competitive edge.
See, Hendo, going back to you before we jump into, I want to get some comments with the Hounds, regarding the Hounds with you. I know it's kind of upsetting still how it ended up with the Hounds, but still definitely should be proud for Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds how they did this year. But in terms of still regarding the minor hockey in town, you and I discussed this when you were on the show previously, how it's so much different in terms of popularity and how the Soo was a hockey town that I remember as, and slowly trying to get back to that point. And it's the expenses and all that other stuff. But we're not going to fully jump into that. It's just, what can the Soo do to continue ascending in the right direction to get hockey back to what it used to be?
I think we're taking the right steps. Obviously, locally with having coaches like Craig Hartsburg come back and mentor some younger coaches. There's such a difference. Whether it's at the Pee Wee or even Soo Major with the experience levels of the different staffs. And so having somebody be able to mentor some maybe a little less experienced staff, I think would help. And then for someone like myself, who I'm always trying to get better, I'm looking forward to, working with him and seeing how I can improve myself personally as well. And hopefully that will only help our team and also assist coach. One of our duties as a head coach is to develop our assistant coaches as well. So I think that's where it can really help. But I think we're on the right path. We talked about this before. You got to have good people and who care. If you have good people that care, all that other stuff will take care of itself. And I think we get caught up in almost every player should make the NHL. It's not going to happen. We just have to be a little more realistic about it. And there are some years that are better than others. You think back to the years with the Spears and the Amadios, and there's a few birth years that are great, and then there's other birth years that aren't so great, and does that mean that all is lost? No, maybe, I look at my team this past year, there's probably 3 or 4 future engineers on the team, and maybe a lawyer or a doctor or two, so yeah, they might not make the NHL. Does that mean all is lost? It's at the end of the day, we're developing young men, I think, number one, and I'm proud of the team we had. We have some really, really, really strong young men, really strong character. We might not watch them Saturday nights, but we may need them one day down the road for something more important. So it's much more about, it's a lot more than just about hockey, but we're down the right path, and everyone, I think, will get on the right page. And I think we just need to be a little more supportive of everyone, and we'll be fine. I know last year, I think in the Bantam, for example, just the levels that I know of, Sudbury, for example, didn't lose a game. Whereas the year above, we played them probably 8 times. We lost 1 goal game every time to them. So, 1 year is super strong, 1 year not so strong. That's the way it's always going to be in a city this size.
Absolutely, and I certainly hope the Soo gets back to what it used to be. It was hockey fanatics around town here, and definitely taking the right steps forward for sure. Now, Henda, we're going to transition into the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds a little bit. Brad Kochmelio, who is part of the show here, is away for the next 2 weeks due to being away for vacation and the Mem Cup. Well deserved for sure, but however, he's going down there without the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds being down there. The Soo Greyhounds have finished the best record in the OHL. Obviously, having such a tremendous season, getting 55 wins, the best season in franchise history. Getting to the finals against Hamilton, they lose in 6 games. They had 2 series before that were tough. Owen Sound, Game 7 was 9-7 there, and they go into double overtime against Kitchener, and Mario was fantastic in that for Kitchener as well as Sioux native. What was it with the Soo Greyhounds in your opinion? Myself and Scott talked about it earlier this week. We talked about it last week, but I'd like to get your opinion on it from being just having a hockey mind here, a different opinion. What could the Hounds have done different? And is there an excuse? Is rest an excuse for the Hounds? Were they exhausted? They looked like they were on the ice. Or was Hamilton just a better playoff-built team than the Hounds?
This might take a little bit here. So first and foremost, and I put this on Twitter the other day, all credit to Hamilton, number one. I mean, Rob Thomas, in my opinion, was the strongest player probably for my money, in the series. But no doubt the series before, I know they flew a couple times, but when you're on the bus and you're playing a 7-game series against Owen Sound, unless you've been on those buses, unless you've, the 7, 8, 9-hour bus rides and a 7-game series, and you do that for 6 weeks basically, it takes a lot out of you. And so we all know the first series was an easy series. They took care of business, but Owen Sound was a big physical team. Like, there were men on that team. And I think we saw for the first time, I remember seeing Boris, who nobody hit Boris hard this year. Nobody. And I seen him get hit a couple times really hard by McKenzie there on Owen Sound. They had some big boys, and that takes a toll out. And those teams forced this. The biggest thing, those teams forced the Greyhounds to play a different style, more of a chip and chase style. They forced them to dump it in. They clogged the neutral zone, and simply put, the Hounds didn't have to play that much, and it's way more tiring to play that kind of style than it is. So now you start factoring in the road trips and the long series and the different style of play, teams being physical on you. And one thing we forget, because a lot of the fans are so passionate, they want the Hounds to win, and they think they should win all the time, especially the last couple of years, is those teams want to win just as bad as we do. Yeah. Those 20 guys on Hamilton and Kitchener and Sarnia, they battled and they worked since last August to be here as well. And so you could see it, Hamilton, right away when they won Game 1, you could see it that once you win Game 1, that gives all the confidence to a team. And it was an uphill battle ever from that point on. And Game 5, I think in hindsight, I'm sure they would look back and say, I wish we came out a little harder in Game 5.
That was a pivotal game.
That was a huge game. But going back, like, Kitchener had a great team. I mean, what can we say about Mario? I mean, you're talking about to watch him and Boris, for me as a former manager of the Birds and being able to watch 2 former players. Mario, 19 teams passed on Mario. 20 teams passed on Mario in August. Finally, somebody took him in October, Sudbury, right? And then another 19 teams had an opportunity to trade for him, and 1 team did in Kitchener, and he ended up almost taking them to a final. So it's, I know he's disappointed the way. I haven't seen him yet since he's been back, but I'm sure I'll bump into him. But I seen his dad at the rink, and I just told him how proud we were. Like, it was every team and every player, they live for this, right? Like, you play junior, you get to a point, you got a chance to win the Memorial Cup. That's everything for a junior hockey player. And those Hamilton kids wanted it just as bad as the Sioux kids. And when you get a group of guys that want it just as bad, anybody can win. It was a 6-game series, could have went to 7, and hats off to Hamilton. It was, what could they have done different? Sure, hindsight's great in sports, right?
Yeah, it is.
The other teams were tough on them. The travel was tough. There's no excuse. Hamilton was a strong team. Rob Thomas, like I said, was awesome. Stillman stepped up. He was huge on the back end. You lose Verbeek and Timmins. You're talking about losing the best defenseman at the World Juniors. You lose him for a pivotal Game 6. Oh, you saw they needed the young players, and it didn't happen for them. But you look at the makeup of this team: Velada, free agent; Frost, 4th round draft pick; getting guys in the 7th round, 8th round, 9th round who were impact players. This was a team that, sure, we knew this year was going to be good, but you look at the drafting they do. Kyle Raftis and the scouting stuff. It's unbelievable to me to pick up these guys in the late rounds. Morgan Frost goes from a 4th rounder to a 1st rounder in the NHL. These things don't happen to most other teams. So, yeah, for sure, they disappointed that they're not going to the Memorial Cup 100%, or the fans disappointed 100% is Brad Cochemilio. 100% Koch is disappointed. But they had a heck of a ride, and we got to watch some of the most skilled hockey we've ever seen in Sault Ste. Marie, in my opinion. So it was pretty cool to watch.
Absolutely, Hendo. Very well said. And I'd like to just get a comment out there and say, and Justin, you'll agree to this before we go to our break, before we conclude, to go to our break, before we go to part 3 of the show. I felt that when I was watching Game 5, when myself and Scott went there, with the Game Sports Show being a part of the media pass with the Hounds and being partnering up with the Hounds, and I'm very happy to be able to continue that going into next year with them as well. But watching the Game 5 game, the pivotal game where the Soo Greyhounds looked absolutely exhausted. They did. They picked up the pace in the final 8 minutes of that period, and they almost came back to tie the hockey game. It just seemed like with Boris Kachuk, with Radish and those guys, they were slowing down. Now, Hamilton was beating them on the boards in terms of body checking. They were bigger than what the Hounds were. But the Hounds, I feel, are the more talented team. Felt that the Hamilton came out hungry and wanted to win. That's what it was. Hendo said it perfectly there. I couldn't say it any more perfectly. But you got to give them credit for this year. They had a great year. Sault Ste. Marie was behind them all year. They made it to the final. They were 2 games away from winning. It's unfortunate that they didn't win. They had the team certainly to win, but they didn't. But we should still be very proud. However, like hindsight in sports, like Hendo said, it is always perfect. It's always 2020. It's awesome. It's definitely a series they can look back on and feel like that they should have won still at the end of the day. I feel like they could have still won that series, but they had 2 series against Owen Sound and Kitchener where they got absolutely worked hard to limit all the travel, and that takes a big part. Whereas maybe some other teams like Hamilton didn't play those kind of deep series and don't have that kind of travel.
Well, I do think the travel played a bit of that was a big part, and just the fatigue that you saw at the very least in Game 6. All that time you spend on a bus. I mean, anyone that's spent time on a bus knows that it sucks. You're not getting good quality rest on the bus. You're just existing in time and space until you get somewhere else to relax. So, and I mean, even those teams in Southern Ontario, they don't even have nearly the travel time. Like the Hounds going to Sudbury or the Hounds going to Saginaw is probably the closest you're going to get to one of those Southern Ontario matchups. And you know what? And like Hendo said, it's hindsight's always 2020. It's fantastic to look back and say this. But especially in that Game 6, like Rob Thomas looked like a man playing among boys. And to me, him and Stillman were the difference maker in that game. I thought Villalta played his heart out. I mean, he did everything he possibly could have done. And just, that's, you know what, they had a great year. You can't take anything away from the season they had, but sometimes losing in a game like that helps build character for those guys to do it again. I don't think there's anything bad to come out of that. It's a bummer. I mean, we're all bummed out they lost, but to get to watch the Hounds up until the last game up to the Memorial Cup, you can't really complain.
Definitely not, Justin. Very well said, fellas. Dave McCaig here alongside Jamie Henderson, special guest tonight, and also Justin Hykel, of course, here live at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear from our sponsors. Hendo, Justin, and I are going to be enjoying some water/Molson products. When we come back, we're going to be discussing AHL playoffs and a little bit of Leafs chat. I want to get Hendo's perspective on a little bit of the Leafs chat that we discussed last week and the week prior and going into the offseason. We'll be back after these messages.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
Get wicked at the Wicked Sister. You'll find the best tasting food for the whole family. Start off with some appetizers like the crab dip, served with warm naan bread strips and soft pretzel bites, or their antibiotic and hormone-free boneless chicken wings with 5 choices of sauces. Entrees include the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, the #1 selling drunken cow burger, or Philly cheesesteaks, and they're on special all day Thursdays. The Wicked Sister also offers a gluten-free menu and catering. Bring the whole family. The Wicked Sister, downtown Ashman Street, open 7 days a week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Game Sports Show, broadcasting Thursday nights from Boston Pizza in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and online at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Now, if you want to hear more of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national talk show involving the world of sports, I encourage you to visit our website, thegamesportshow.com. There you can hear a couple other broadcasts of the Game Sports Show. Monday nights, we do the game from the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street in downtown Sioux, Michigan, 6 to 7 o'clock on the radio. WUPN, Eagle 95.1 locally, or online at radioeaglesioux.com. Now, the full 2-hour show can be heard on the podcast page of the game at thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or you can go to our YouTube channel. Just look for Scott Nason. In that one, as yours truly, along with Dave McCaig and our weekly contributors, Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, along with EJ Russell on the Team Wireless Hot Seat. We focus on local, regional, and national sports, including high school basketball and hockey, junior hockey, Laker athletics, and the Detroit sports scene. And Mr. Electric Avenue, Dave McCaig, also broadcasts a show on Wednesday night from Sports Center Bar and Grill in Sioux, Ontario, along with his regular contributors, Jamie Antonello, Justin Hykel, and Dane Hantro. They focus on football with their In the Pocket segment, talking about the NFL along with basketball and the NBA, and other sports including tennis, golf, soccer, and the WWE. Once again, you can hear all 3 versions of the game at our website, thegamesportshow.com, or our podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look for the Scott Nason channel. And thank you for listening, and keep it locked here to the game for all your local, regional, and national sports talk that you just can't get enough of.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sports Center rated top sports bar for the 2nd year in a row. At Sports Center, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Hi, this is Paul Maurice from the Winnipeg Jets, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig, as I've been here all night, live at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, alongside Justin Hykel and our special guest today, Jamie Henderson. Now, fellas, we discussed the Hounds, local talk and everything, but now we're going to jump into the professional side of hockey with the NHL. We're talking about the playoffs that are currently going on, and also have a little bit of Toronto Maple Leaf discussion and our multiple choice segment. And we're also going to announce the winner of the trivia question in this segment that we're going to do at the end of the discussion with the Leafs and the NHL. Obviously, it'll be right at the conclusion of the show, so stay tuned for the winner of that. But fellas, diving on into some playoff discussion, we're going to talk about the Washington Capitals. And Justin, I'm going to go over to you first, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The series between the Washington Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Right now, currently, they are in action while we are sitting here. It's tied 2-2 while we're here live at Boston Pizza. Capitals are up 2-1 going into tonight. The Capitals are looking pretty good and looking very confident after that series win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Justin, what do you say, sir?
I mean, I think the Capitals, especially Alexander Ovechkin, are kind of playing like a team that's been disrespected a little bit the last couple of years for not making it over that playoff hump. And Ovechkin seems especially to be playing like a guy who's got to win some sort of hardware this year after Russia won the gold medal without him. So, I mean, Washington just seems to be playing on a total other level over Tampa right now. And I don't know if maybe Tampa's dealing with some injuries they haven't talked about, or Tampa's just off to a slower start after that series with Boston. maybe they're a little roughed up. I'm not 100%, but Washington looks like a totally different team than the Capitals we saw even in the regular season. Like it's fascinating. I never thought I'd see this Washington Capitals team in the playoffs.
You never thought they would defeat Pittsburgh, maybe the right term. Everyone thought you were going to lose against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but Hendel, Capitals are playing with a high right now. They're up 2-1 over Tampa in the series. Big game here tonight. They can go up 3-1 if they do defeat the Tampa Bay Lightning while we're sitting here to discuss. Now, what's your take with the Washington Capitals? Can they close it out against Tampa if they get to that point, or is Tampa still the favorite in this series in your eyes?
I think the biggest thing for Washington, happens in a lot of professional sports where there's that one team that's kind of got you have a hard time beating them. They got your number, they say. And they finally got over Pittsburgh, finally. And now, they, like you said, they're playing with a lot of confidence. But having said that, the one thing I've seen and heard a lot over the years is the teams play a little looser on the road. So you see Washington goes on the road, they win 2, and then Tampa in a must-win situation. Washington's not in a must-win situation, and Tampa comes in, steals Game 3. Now if they could steal Game 4, now it's a whole different series. So it changes so quick, momentum in the playoffs, and you've seen it on the other side too. But Washington's got a great team. Are they a better team than they were all those other years that they lost? I wouldn't say they are, but they just happened to beat a Pittsburgh team that was probably tired, been to a lot of long runs, and they had some good timely goaltending, and now here they are. They win tonight. Now they got a stranglehold in the series, but Tampa's a good team. They're not going to go away.
Absolutely not. It doesn't matter if you're down 3-1 or 3-0, you still have a chance to come back. It's not over until you win that 4th game. Now, fellas, transitioning to the other series that's going on, the Winnipeg Jets and the Las Vegas Golden Knights. We got Sioux native and Colin Miller, defenseman for Las Vegas Golden Knights, friend and listener of the show, been on the show numerous times. Paul Maurice, another friend and listener of the show, head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, representing Sault Ste. Marie as well. Yesterday, Las Vegas went up 2-1 on the series after winning the game in Las Vegas. Now, with Game 4 set to be in Vegas as well, the Winnipeg Jets face a situation where they don't want to go back home being down 3-1. Even though they have a good chance of winning at home, they're one of the best in the National Hockey League at winning at home, but so is Vegas. Okay, you don't want to go down 3-1 to Las Vegas. Be a very, very, very tough hill, maybe even impossible hill to climb. I feel with Vegas, they're a team that's defied all odds the entirety of the season. They had 200-1 odds to make the playoffs. They only had 350-1 odds to win the Stanley Cup. I wish I would have put one paycheck towards that. Oh my God, I'd probably, we'd probably still be sitting at Boston Pizza, but maybe I would have built a special podium for us to be sitting on right now. That's how much money I would have got from that. So, just saying, in general, Winnipeg Jets series, Vegas, it's definitely lived up to the hype. Very exciting. Very funny moment yesterday with Byfuglien. I think he had Tuck on his left hand, and he had good old Colin Miller on his right when he pulled him off. Byfuglien doing Byfuglien things. Winnipeg made it interesting late. They played very well both games, or all 3 games, sorry. I think all teams played very well. Fleury's played very well. The first game, you and I were talking when Byfuglien unloaded that slap shot a minute 30 in, absolute laser beam. This is such an exciting series all around with 2 very good hockey teams. And Hendo, I'm going to go over to you first with this. Your thoughts on the series. Can Winnipeg battle back to get this series tied up before going back over to the Great White North?
I think they've probably, you could argue, been the better team so far. I mean, how about the atmospheres, though? Like, whether it's in Winnipeg or in Vegas, it's just, I sat there last night, I was watching the game, and I'm thinking to myself, who would ever have thought that in May we're watching the Vegas Golden Knights in the 3rd round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, one series away from going to the finals, and the atmosphere, it's just like, it's crazy. I don't think we all didn't know what to expect when they announced Vegas was going to have a team, and to have the type of team they did, they're so exciting to watch. Like they're so fun to watch. They're just relentless on the forecheck. I love watching them play. As a coach, you just love watching. There's so many things you could pick up. Their back pressure is unbelievable. Their forecheck is awesome. But Winnipeg had some great chances. You mentioned Marc-Andre Fleury. He's the difference. I mean, to me, you bring a guy who's the first pick. You bring a guy with his pedigree and his Stanley Cup experience. He has fun there. You see him laughing and mucking it up with the guys there, and everyone, they did a little story on him last night. They all love this guy. And when you get a guy like that who's your goalie and they know he's going to stop every puck, that just brings confidence to your team, and it's unbelievable. You know, it just trickles right down, and they're playing with a boatload of confidence. Having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if Winnipeg won tomorrow night and brought it back to Winnipeg 2-2, because the guys like Scheifele and Wheeler, they're playing off the charts right now. Like, I couldn't believe last night when I heard that Scheifele only makes $6 million. I'd love that salary, don't get me wrong, but I say that with all due respect. I mean, there's guys that are making 8, 9, 10, and he's just, to me he's a top 15 player in the league already. He's only going to get better. He's still young. I think he's a former Barrie Colt, and he was good in junior, but he's just off the charts right now. And you see it with young players. They get the confidence. So I know he scored again last night. I would really watch for him to be able to take over this series. But it's been fun watching Colin, obviously, out there. Like, when there's someone, I love the pride we have in town when there's one of our own playing in the series, and, you know, the support. So I know Coach Maurice is from the Soo as well, but I think my allegiances with this one lie with Colin. And, you know, we hope that, I personally hope that they can finish this off.
Absolutely. Very interesting to see if Colin can come home this summer, and him coming on the show be different if he had the Stanley Cup sitting beside him, you know, in the interview or something like that. That's certainly a thing, a beauty for Colin, definitely. He's having such a tremendous year as well. So I think get the listeners' take on this. Whose allegiance are you on? What side are you on? Colin Miller or the Paul Maurice? Let us know in the comments on the Podbean page or on the Facebook post. Let us know what you think. Fellas, transitioning to another team that is not playing right now. They are golfing. Some people are golfing in Toronto. Maybe some people are at Silver Creek today. I don't know. Were they there? Were they at Silver Creek? No. You know, they're golfing right now. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are that team. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs right now are going through a lot of different change right now. Lou Lamoriello is no longer the GM. Sioux native Kyle Dubas takes over the team as expected. In terms of, you know, it was him or Mark Hunter. I think everyone had the hunch it was going to be the Kyle Dubas, especially with him not going to Colorado last year. There had to be something behind that scenes. You know, this is now Dubas' team. There's contracts he has to face with Matthews. He has JVR, who's a free agent, Bozak, Komarov. There's a lot of guys who are free up. They signed 4 players today to entry-level deals. And, you know, one person's Jasper Lindgren, forward Pierre Engvall, forward Par Lundham, and defenseman Igor Ogazagenov. I butchered, I think, all those last names, and I seriously apologize, but they all signed to, the first 2 were 2-year contracts, the other ones were 1-year contracts, young guys that played overseas, you know, adding to that depth. That's what Dubas is doing in the Leafs organization. I'm very excited to see what he can do with this team, because this is his team. Now, having that transition, fellas, I want to get your intake on how Dubas and Babcock will work together. What Dubas has to do and what his number one priority should be. Justin, I don't have to tell you what I think his number one priority is going to be. For the last year, I've said the Leafs needed defense. Period. They need defense. So defense alongside other things, what else can Toronto do to make this team better, get over that hump, and maybe get to the second, third round, maybe even the Cup final? Hendo, I'll go to you first.
I think when it comes to Kyle, obviously, you know, we were all super excited for Kyle. Known Kyle for a long time, and we're all really excited for his family and all that. When it comes to the Leafs, we all have such a vested interest. Those that that like the Leafs, the ones that don't like the Leafs, they don't care. But I hear that, and I say it too sometimes. You know, they need D, they need this, they need that. Unfortunately, there's 31 other teams in the league that probably also think that they need an upgrade on D. So the problem, you just don't find those guys. You have to draft them, you have to develop them, and you watch these 4 teams that are still playing. They're deep. They could play it anyway. They could play the skill game. They could grind it out. You look at Winnipeg. They could play skill game with Scheifele and those guys. Their 3rd and 4th lines can beat you up. Their D, or you get guys like Buffalo you're talking about, physical presence. I watched a game a few years ago in L.A., Winnipeg in L.A. Could not believe how physical it was. And so, yeah, the game's shifting towards more of a skill game, but there's still a place for the guys that can go up and down and protect the puck and make you think about what you're going to do as a defenseman. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to Kyle leading this team. I think he'll relate to the younger players a little bit better. I mean, it's just the athletes are different these days than they were 20 years ago, and obviously Mr. Lamoriello did an unbelievable job of getting the Leafs where they are. They fast-tracked this plan that they had, and now all of a sudden our expectations are through the roof because you get an Austin Matthews, you get a William Nylander, you get a Mitchell Marner. To me, Marner had an unbelievable playoff series. He had an unbelievable second half. If he can build off that, William Nylander build off that, I think Matthews, it was probably a little bit of a wake-up call in the playoffs that he's not quite there yet. And you see, look at Connor McDavid this year. He had an unbelievable season. They didn't even make the playoffs. So, could be worse, I guess. You could be sitting here saying we didn't even make the playoffs. But I'm looking forward to every Leaf fan wants to win the Cup so bad. And I know, they have a great staff in place, and they're going to do everything they can. But like I said earlier about the OHL, there's 20 teams that wanted to be in the Memorial Cup. Well, there's 28 teams that wish they were still playing right now that are sitting there saying, how do we get better? And so I know no one's going to work harder than Kyle Dubas, so that's for sure.
Absolutely not, Hendo, for sure. And congratulations again to Kyle Dubas. We touched on it last week and whatnot. But Hendo, Hike, going over to you now in terms of a lot of H's today. I don't have an H, so it's not the Triple H. It would have been funny because Triple H being the game, pun intended. That would have been maybe kind of funny to say. But there's a name drop for it. But Hike, going to you in terms of my question with Dubas-Babcock relation and how it's going to be for Dubas and what else are you expecting from this team going into this offseason. We touched on this last week a little bit. We're going to dive into a bit more tonight. What do they need? Hike.
I mean, I'm going to jump on the defenseman bandwagon now. But I mean, I really think one of the unturned stones here is maybe to try and take advantage of this tire fire that's going on in Carolina right now. Carolina seems to be just abandoning ship on everything possible. So why not see what price they want for Justin Falk? I mean, if you, well, I'm not making up a rumor or anything. I'm just saying, look at the guy's numbers. He's not a bad defenseman. Everyone's all getting hot and excited for Drew Doughty and this and that. But let's take a look around the league and see who else is productive, who else is good. And just because his name isn't from Southern Ontario, there's other options out there that are probably going to be a little more cost effective. And given the fact that the contracts we're going to have to sign down the road, why not give it a go? I mean, we're facing facts here. We're going to have to lose some pieces to make ourselves better. And I think it's safe to say that JVR is probably not coming back unless he's coming back at some sort of very unfriendly to JVR's pocketbook contract. So I don't see it. I honestly see...
Not even Bozak.
This is... Call me crazy, but I think maybe the Islanders making a run at JVR is a pull to keep Tavares there. That's if the rumors are true that Lamoriello is going to the Islanders, that's true. I just and Lamoriello was pretty excited at JVR the day he walked in the door. Told him he needed to change his numbers to make himself look bigger on the ice. So maybe, I mean, if the Islanders are going back to, I don't know, but defense is where Toronto needs to go. That's. Just work on your defense, sign some of those young guys, and let's see where we're at.
It'll be an interesting offseason for sure in general with Toronto because every year every fan goes in there and says, oh, Tavares is there, we're signing him. Oh, wait, next year, guess who's there next year? Drew Doughty. Oh, yeah, we're taking Drew Doughty. Yeah, listen, Leaf fans, we need to get our gut check here and be realistic that, let's not get those expectations. They're on the right track. It sucked what happened in Game 7, don't get me wrong. I thought they were going to defeat Boston this year. I thought they had their number this year, but Boston went into that playoffs and was the better team. They're better built for the playoffs, and a lot of players, like Austin Matthews, got a rude awakening. But Marner and Kapanen, big series for those two guys, especially Kasperi Kapanen. I'm a diehard fan of those players that are hard, two-way, nose-grinding guys. You know who played a lot like that is Tyler Kennedy. And Tyler Kennedy played a lot like that with Pittsburgh with that big third line when they won the Cup against Detroit. When I was Cook, Stahl, and Kennedy. And having Kennedy on last week, he talked about how you had to play like that to earn your keep and how that's how the game is a lot like now. The speed, getting to the puck first. Look at Jonathan Marchessault. The guy is an absolute cannon on the ice and fast. And that's why with Marner and Kapanen, they can thrive in today's NHL. And I would love to see Mitch Marner playing with Austin Matthews, though, in my honest opinion, and I hope Babcock does that change without Nylander. I'd like to see Marner move up there, especially with Bozak and JVR gone. Those are Marner's buddies. Marner transitioned over to Kadri and Marleau in the second half of the year, which did help, so maybe that's where he stays, but maybe Marner gets a chance with Austin Matthews, and Nylander goes down with Kadri and Marleau this year or something like that. I'd like to see that change. That's one of the changes, and obviously defense is what's needed on this team in general. And to kind of replace JVR, you don't need to replace, you have depth, but if you can make a move that makes sense or sign someone that makes sense, I still have my eye on Rick Nash. A lot of people roll their eyes at that, but I feel like he won't sign for as expensive, and if I'm wrong, if he's over $5 million or something, you don't take him. I'm seeing him at a 4.2 rate. Call me crazy. I kind of see him around that rate, to be totally honest with you, where GVR is at a $6 million rate, 6.5, because he hit almost 40 goals this year. So I would like to see that kind of transition or something. I think that'd be a good fit. But again, I trust Dubas, and I think he'll make the right move. And him and Babcock are going to work very well together, I feel. Very well together. So, fellas, we're getting near the end of the show. We got one more thing we got to get to before we state who the trivia question answer is, before we fully conclude the show. The multiple choice segment. Now, Hendo is sort of new to the multiple choice segment. You just heard about today. Multiple choice segment is like, I'm going to say it flat out, it's like the quiz on TSM, but a lot different. And it's because of the name. That's the only reason why I say it's a lot different. We're going to give you a question. We're going to give you ABC or ABCD or ABCDE, and you guys are going to state your answer with a brief explanation in terms of being quick, though. Not a 25-minute discussion as I would usually give, just a 30-second quick bit about why you think this is it. And the questions today, we had myself, Justin, and Jamie bring questions forth today. There's going to be 3 questions on the multiple choice segment today, and it's around players. It's a multiple choice segment where it's player involved, where players are going to go. And we're going to start off with Hykel's question. Hykel asked, where is Ilya Kovalchuk going to play this year? Here are the options. Stays in Russia. B, the New York Rangers. C, the New Jersey Devils. That's where he's going to go back because that's who originally had his rights. Or does he go to the Las Vegas Golden Knights if guys like David Perron and even James Neal doesn't re-sign? The cap space will be there for Vegas. Hendo, I'm going to you first to answer who you think Ilya Kovalchuk's going this year.
Well, I think he definitely leaves Russia. I'll just go. I'm going to say the Rangers. I think the Rangers are going to make a big splash. They didn't make the playoffs this year, so I'm sure that didn't go over well with the blue shirts. So I'm going to say the Rangers. I think he's probably itching to get back in the big leagues, and so we'll see if it happens.
Like that. Short, brief, quick. I like that answer. Hike, you're next for your own question.
I was thinking the Rangers. They're going to have the cap space. They're looking to refresh the team. That's the logical one in my books.
You know what? I don't want it to be a sweep because that's no fun. I kind of like where you guys are going with that, but I'm going to go with D, Las Vegas. The reason why I say Vegas is because some guys that are moving, I'm going to tell you right now, Vegas is going to make a splash again. They have picks, they have players, they're exciting. They don't want to drift off and be a sophomore slump or whatever you want to call it for a second-year team. They're going to make a splash for Kovalchuk. And mark my words as well, a little bonus thing here, Erik Karlsson's going to be a Golden Knight as well. That's my other prediction as well going forward. Second question, we're going to go to my question. Joel Thornton, where does he go? The options are 3, San Jose Sharks, the Toronto Maple Leafs, or does Joel Thornton retire? Sorry, I only gave you 3 options there, fellas. I would give another, but then that's not multiple choice. So again, Sharks, Leafs, or retires. Hendo?
I think you only really need 2 options. I think it's Sharks or retire. I don't see Joel leaving anywhere. He's been there. I think it's 18 years he's been there. He has been playing hockey in the NHL my whole entire adult life, which is pretty crazy when I think about it. I think we're pretty close to the same age, and he has literally been playing. I think my first year in college was his first year in the Boston. So I'm gonna say I know he said publicly San Jose. I'm gonna go San Jose. 1 more year, real low contract, maybe one last shot. I would love to see Joe win the cup, but I think he's got 1 more year. I don't think he wants to go out after an injury. No athlete wants to go out that way, so I'll say San Jose.
Good answer. I'll go second. I'll go in that rhythm. That'll be second answer question. I kind of know where you're going with it, I think, Hike, because reading your mind. But I'm actually going to go with C. Retires. I'm going to go that route because I know he said publicly he wants to come back on a lower grade contract because I know San Jose wants to re-sign Evander Kane. But I have a gut feeling that Joe Thornton is retiring. I'm going to go with that. I think that I'm probably wrong, but I have a gut feeling, and I'm going to go with my gut and state how Joe Thornton is going to retire. Hike.
I think he's staying in San Jose. Like I'm with Hendo on that. I don't think he's gonna go out on a season like he had this year, and I don't think the Sharks are gonna let him go away and risk him ending up somewhere else and having a resurgence like Marleau did. The Sharks. I don't think the Sharks want to lose two guys in back-to-back years that were faces of the franchise. I think Joe's back in San Jose next year, and I think he rides off into the sunset after the 2018-2019 season.
Good answers, fellas. No wrong answer with multiple choice until we're proven wrong in the media in the future. Third question from our special guest, Jamie Henderson. And the question that everyone's asking this summer, where is John Tavares going to sign? Now, I got a little fun fact before we get this answer. I'm going to give you guys a little tip, little breaking news thing. That's not so breaking news. I have said it on the show. A friend and maybe someone connected with the show has told me that John Tavares has said to this guy's best friend that he will not ever play in Toronto. He said he would not handle the media, too much pressure, and he also said as a joke that they would not be able to afford him, which is obviously false because Toronto can afford anybody they want to afford. But now, am I putting words in Tavares' mouth? Maybe. So, Johnny T, am I spreading rumors about you? Absolutely. But with John Tavares saying that he has no interest of going to Toronto, I do not believe him because he's from there. But now, looking at this team, kind of have a feeling he might change his mind. But here are the options where John Tavares is going to sign. New York Islanders, New York Rangers, Toronto Maple Leafs, or the Los Angeles Kings. I'll go first before I go to Hendo, then to Hike to finish it off. I think I almost spoiled it with it, but I'm not going to say the Leafs, believe it or not. I would love the Leafs to throw a 1-year, $15 million contract, but that doesn't just make sense for this franchise. And Tavares won't do that. So I feel in the direction that they are going, they can go in another direction by signing guys. But I also think he's not going to go to the Rangers or Kings. I think he's staying put with the New York Islanders. I'm saying that that's where he's staying. And the reason being, I think after they get some new management in there, and if maybe the Islanders make a splash to get another winger and make him stay, especially if Lou stays there, they'll probably give him what he wants to stay there. So my choice is the Islanders. Hendo, going over to you for your question.
I think there's a strong chance he goes with the Islanders, but I'm going to go with the Rangers. I think he's publicly said he wants to win, and the Islanders aren't that close to winning. I think he saw that last year. They were, if not the worst, one of the top 2 or 3 worst defensive teams. Big gap, we talk about defense all night. They don't have much back there, and the goaltending. I'm going to say he goes to the New York Rangers. They make a big splash this year.
Like that. A couple of Rangers getting a lot of love tonight from the Game Sports Show. Hike, over to you to finish off.
I think some new management comes into Long Island and sells them on staying. That's how I think that's going to shake out. I think Tavares has put enough into that franchise, and I don't think he wants to just leave. I think he's committed there.
Wow, fellas. Like the answers. Most certainly like the answers. So that does it for our show here tonight. Hendo, before I do the conclusion side, I want to say thank you for coming on by tonight and like to get you on more, and hopefully throughout the summer we can get some stuff arranged as well, as we were discussing off air. But I appreciate you coming by and doing the local chat and even diving into our professional chat.
Thanks, Dave. I always appreciate talking sports with you guys. Enjoy seeing you guys, and I'd love to come on anytime.
Absolutely. Now, Fridays with Hendo, you can get that on Facebook. That's tomorrow. And some of you that hear this now will be today it's on, so make sure you check on Jamie Henderson's Facebook. Hykel, thanks for coming on by, pal. As always, next week.
Oh, yeah. I'll be here.
When aren't you here? You're here and now also here. But now going to the conclusion side of the show, our merchandise has been launched. Our T-shirts have been launched. The Game Sports Show, sponsored by Northern Critters in Need and Big Brother Big Sister. You can purchase a shirt for $25. Beautiful shirt, man. Beautiful material. We had 25 get the first batch. We sold out within 2.5 hours of the 25 shirts. And we have another batch coming that'll be in on Tuesday. But you can put your order in now by going to the Game Sports Show, ssm@gmail.com, or commenting on the GameSportsShow.podbean.com or my Facebook. You can reach out to me. You can pay through the website at www.thegamesportshow.com by clicking it. It'll access you right to the email, and you make your order on email. And you can do an e-transfer. And hopefully in the coming weeks we'll have an online payment set up on the website as well. But the proceeds of the shirt go 100% towards charity, Northern Critters in Need and Big Brother Big Sister. So it's going to be $12.50 each. So the $25 for the shirt, obviously basic math, $12.50 each going to both charities, donations on behalf of Northern Critters and Big Brother Big Sister. And those T-shirts are launched, and you could get those shirts. Even though they're sold out, you can put your order in, and I will have your order given to you by Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Now, the agenda for the show, we're going to be Tuesday, myself and Scott Nason at the Wicked Sister. Next Wednesday, we'll be back at Sports Center Bar and Grill. Next Thursday, we'll be back here at Boston Pizza, where Greg Hartsburg will be coming on the show live on location here at Boston Pizza. So make sure you're coming on by where you're here for the 9 o'clock daily special Boston Pizza, and to meet and talk to Greg Hartsburg, who has been a very special guest live on location. Very excited and looking forward to that. Now, trivia question. Got to get to that quickly before we go on. The winner of the trivia question is Troy Miron. Troy Miron gave me his answer of 49-23, and it was on the email that he sent to the Game Sports Show, ssm@gmail.com. Frequent listener of the show. And what does he win? He wins a free large pizza courtesy of Boston Pizza. You come on in, Troy, and you can pick up your pizza, or you can even get it delivered to you, but you will have to pay the delivery charge, obviously, for that. But you come on to the location and get your free large pizza. And congratulations on getting that right. We do not have a trivia question this week to present. We will have a question next week, and I'm going to get Greg Hartsburg to probably ask the question next week when he gets here, so make sure you tune into that. So again, Troy Miron winning last week's question on the capacity of the SR Center for hockey. So now that does it for the show. You know the agenda for next week. You better see you live on location. Make sure you follow us on the GameSportsShow.podbean.com, or follow us on the website www.thegamesportshow.com. Make sure you purchase that merchandise, as I was saying as well. It goes to a great cause. Get in touch with me to get a copy for your shirt. Check the website out as well. We have our merchandise and logo launch obviously on there. Now getting to the final line of the show that everyone loves to hear. Keep your stick on the ice. Swing your bat. Catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.